All right, what are we staring at? We're staring at the BMW, the F30. I have the Gen 1 B58. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to come to you guys and make another video as far as the top 5 things I believe you should vet or think about. Because there's not a lot of people saying this. It's just, all I'm seeing with the content is you should go this route and do this and do this and do this. And I think that with this video, it'll kind of make you think even more, because you may not even need to go down that route, right? And I want to, kind of break down certain things, why I did it, and how I did it, and all that good stuff. So just wanted to bring you guys this content. Please enjoy. All right, so the first thing I'll recommend is this guy right here. Okay, so what is that? I mean, you guys, if you're a car person, you know, but if you don't know, this is a carbon fiber front strut brace that I got from, I believe, Keys Motorsport. Okay, so if you didn't know, so there's 2 different versions of the M as far as the suspension. So you can have the regular suspension, or you can have the adaptive M suspension. You'll know if you go into your settings, and I'll have a little overlay. If you go into your settings, and you can see that you can mess with the chassis and I think the powertrain or something like that. If you can mess with both of those, then you have the adaptive M suspension. Okay, but in regards to the carbon fiber front strut brace, what this does, a lot of people also don't know, going to the adaptive M thing I was talking about, is when you turn and you have sway, if you have the adaptive M suspension, the car will kind of contort itself to kind of balance out a little bit more, versus the non-adaptive M suspension. So what this guy does, it helps make this a little bit more stiffer and bracer, so it's a little stiffer. So like for me, when I first noticed the car, I noticed that, the car was already planted, right? Because remember, a lot of these upgrades are just, they're kind of overkill. It's really aesthetics. You're really not going to notice a difference. So you might be asking, well, why did you do this? Well, I noticed it because I'm a corner shredder, right? So like, what does that even mean, right? What am I talking about? So that's where, for me, I had to define what kind of driver I am. And that's where you kind of have to define the type of driver you are. Well, you don't have to. It's just my recommendation, because it's going to save you from spending a whole bunch of money that you don't need. So that's where, for me, I appreciate really, really, really feeling the car under load, taking a corner. So that's where I put most of my money into suspension. And like I said, is it overkill? Yes, I will say it is overkill. It's kind of like having ceramic brakes and you're never going to the track. It's overkill. You don't need it. But for me, I have noticed a small difference, because I did take this off after like 2 months, because I wanted to see the difference. So the slight difference, from what I remember, was I didn't feel as confident as I did in the corners without this. So that's where it did let me know that this is doing its job. Now, what's interesting, before this, and I don't know if this is in like placebo effect or it's in my head and whatnot, when I first originally got the car and I put it in Sport Plus mode, I noticed that, beyond the steering wheel getting a little tougher because it's electronically controlled, but it was a thing where I can feel it kind of fighting me on the corners, in the sense of it was adding more resistance, and it did that naturally. So I guess, that's let me know that the adaptive sway bars are doing its job, because it's preloading the steering wheel, and I felt that resistance. But when I put this on, I don't know, because it's messing with the geometry, which it probably is, that I didn't feel that feeling anymore. It's like I don't miss the feeling, but it was just interesting that I didn't see it after. So definitely add a carbon fiber front strut brace if you're a corner shredder. Remember, if you're a person that just wants to go fast, straight, you don't need all this. What came with the car is fine. It's fine enough. Just tune it, get a turbo, all that good stuff. So definitely do that. All right, number 2, okay? So this guy, Cold Air Intake, okay? So, like I said, once again, do you absolutely need this? No, you do not. What came with the car is perfectly fine. But for me, as for most of you guys, you guys probably grew up on Fast and the Furious, right? Leave a comment, what's the best Fast and the Furious? But side note, I think it's number 2, but we'll talk about it another day. So for me, I wanted a Cold Air Intake because I really wanted to hear the internals as far as the engine, because I want to hear what this engine sounds like. And you know, the OEM one is just very restrictive and it doesn't really produce a lot of sound. So for me, I like this because it's nostalgic. Is it adding horsepower? No. Am I gonna, you know, be delusional and be like, oh, it's adding 10 more horsepower and this? No, it's not. It's a minuscule difference, right? It's really for air, or just hearing more air noises, more whoosh, whoosh, all that good stuff, which is what I want to hear. So definitely recommend this if you want to hear more noise. If you don't, leave it OEM and keep it, like I said, keep it OEM. All right, why are we on the ground? Okay, why are we at this perspective? So what I did was I added drilled and slotted rotors, front and rear, and upgraded pads and steel lines. Okay, so why did I do all that? Is it overkill? Yes and no. Because I know me and I have a very heavy foot. And like I said, I'm a driver. I drive my car. I do not baby this car. I'm always going to be pushing the limits of the car. Absolutely. You should definitely upgrade your brakes, especially the pads. If you don't want to do the lines are overkill because, you know, they're, like I said, they're steel lines. That's really for racing and track purposes. And I'm probably not going to ever track this car. But for me, I like the convenience and the peace of mind that when I want to stop, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to have that brake fade or typical brake fade. Drilled and slotted, yes, it's a very minuscule performance bump. You're not getting what you think you're getting. It's not like, oh, like it's keeping it more cool. Yes and no, it is. But like I said, the reason why I'm saying it's very minuscule because this is a street car. This is not, I'm not tracking this car. So that's where you're really not going to notice the difference unless you're like on a back road, which is what I like to do. So definitely recommend, if anything, start with upgrading your pads. Then if you have the extra money, go drill and slotted rotors. And then if you have a little bit more money, upgrade the steel lines as well too. The brake feel is way better. The car will thank you. Yes, definitely. That would be number 3. Okay, so number 4 is going to be kind of interior based, but I'm going to put more, it's going to be more things in 4, but I'm just counting it as interior. I'm categorizing it as interior mods. Okay, so what's one thing you see and touch every day? The things in your interior, right? You see your dashboard, you feel your steering wheel, right? Your gear lever, your sport buttons, and all that good stuff, right? So that's where, for me, I wanted to I wanted to upgrade these things because I wanted to upgrade the experience. All right, so what am I saying? So for me, I like the design of the F30 M3 steering wheel, but I like the paddles of the 340. I don't know, the F80 steering paddle shifters are just too plastic and they don't feel good in my fingers when I'm taking a corner. I know people like it because it's thinner, right? Or you either upgrade to the magnetic paddle shifters. I don't really care about that. I don't really care about hearing the clicking sound that you hear when you have the magnetic. I really love the feel of the original paddle shifters that came with the car, but just on the F80 because, like I said, my interior is black, silver, and then pops of red. So that's where I wanted to play into that theme, and that's where those original paddle shifters do that. Then, of course, adding the M1, M2 buttons, and then also the cluster. I did another video on that, so check that out on why I went with that kind of setup. And then also, like I said, it's silver. Yeah, I got a lot of these. This was originally wood. The door panels and AC vents and all that stuff was wood, and I hated that because I'm just like, I'm in a sports car. I wanted to feel sporty, so I upgraded them to a silver. Yeah, so silver and whatnot, playing on the more polished silver here. So yeah, so that's that. Then also too, 2 technical or technology upgrades that I did for the car is I got a smart mirror here, and then I got a bigger screen from XTRONS and Pelsee. I'll link that in the description as well too. This was maybe $600. This was maybe $140, and I can do another video if you guys want me to. Well, I'm gonna do it anyway, but I'll do another video kind of going over these 2 things and how it's definitely upgraded my experience driving in my car. But yeah, like I said, so think about that. You can always do floor mats. I was gonna do floor mats like the M Performance one, but then I kind of like all weather or all season floor mats because, yeah, it's like it looks cute, but you really want to have the rubber. Now, if they have a better design of the rubber floor mats, I'll look into that. But I like what I've done in the car so much. And then here, this needs to be upgraded. As you can see, it's getting worn. Or not getting worn, it is worn. And I want to upgrade this. I was thinking Alcantara, but nah, it starts to fade, and I'm in Florida and the sun really just starts to fade it. So I want to go leather, but maybe do some like some M stitching or something like this. So yeah, so looking for that as well too. So definitely upgrade your interior if you can. All right, so why are we sitting on the floor on the other side of the BMW? The reason why is because the last upgrade, number 5, that I recommend is lower control arm monobar bushings, okay? No, it was a little bit of a mouthful, but like I said, lower control arm monobar bushings, okay? So what comes with the car are rubber bushings, okay? So rubber, you know, think about rubber band. A rubber band is very pliable, right? Because remember, these cars are sports sedans. And I say sports with not much emphasis. It's really an economy car that they did some sports stuff too, sports modifications too. So that's where for me, and being the guy that I am and the type of driver I am, which is what? A corner shredder, right? I love the corners. I love making sure the car feels good in the corner. I can care less about going fast straight. But with the control ball, the lower control arm monobar bushings, right? They're so think about it like this. So what am I talking about? Because I'm kind of messing my own self up. So what I'm talking about is this. So with the car, with the lower control arms, they control this motion of the car. So going over the undulations of the road and bouncing up and down like this, the lower control arms, right here, that, okay? So when you have rubber, pliable, okay? So rubber expands, right? So with a lot of the rubber bushings, they make the ride more comfortable, right? So that's where you have to ask yourself, are you willing to give up a small bit of comfort for stiffness? Because if you go too stiff, then it's not enjoyable. And then I like to travel with my passengers, and I want them to feel comfortable as well too. But also too, when I'm by myself, I want to enjoy myself when I want to put it in Sport Plus mode, when I want to get active. So that's where I think me doing the lower control arm monobar bushings, or the bushings, yeah, man, they do a good job as far as being street compliant, but then giving me that street feel when everything's kind of tuned up to the max in Sport Plus mode. Because going over bumps and, you know, certain undulations of the road, I don't feel a lot of that stuff, and the car feels really comfortable. So yeah, so that's something I definitely recommend. I got mine from Millway, and I'll link it in the description as well too. Millway, so what it was with the bushings, and I'll have pictures of it as well too, is instead of them being rubber, because the next upgrade is like polyurethane or something like that, which is a little stiffer, still kind of rubber, but it doesn't give as much give. But I got one where the rubber is like this much, then it's steel on the outside, not steel, or some type of metal on the outside, and it doesn't give any give. So yeah, definitely do you guys research on, you know, monobar bushings and how it can really enhance the steering feel. Because my steering is way tighter. I don't feel that dead center when I'm driving. I don't feel it not moving, the vagueness of what a lot of 340 guys talk about. Maybe those 340 guys doesn't have the M adaptive suspension, but when I do this, I can feel the car move. The car, any little input, the car moves. So that's where, you know, I kind of give it to the carbon fiber front strut brace, and then the lower control arm monobar bushing. So yeah, those will be the 5 things I recommend that you start with. But remember, I would define what kind of driver you are, because you guys may not give a damn about any of this, right? You may care about, I just want to make the most horsepower, which is fine. So that means you want to go fast straight. I like going fast sideways and turning. So yeah, all right, well, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, man, we'll look out for another video we'll be doing about the two little gadgets that I got for the interior. I'll go over that and why it's such a bigger upgrade, and and better. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Alrighty, bye.